Thank you, Jessica. Okay, we are ready when you are, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the Isabel County Board of Commissioners, Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee meeting. First off, we will start with is there any change to the agenda at this time? Seeing none, we'll proceed with the agenda as presented. First up, we have a call to the public. There will be another call to public at the end of the meeting, so.
There's no one at
See
this
no one
time.
sitting in the audience, and there's nobody on the phone at this time.
Right.
Seeing that, we'll move to our first agenda item, is consider approving the request to hire an Isabel County 911 dispatch supervisor at the dispatcher supervisor employee wage scale, step 5 years, in the amount of $55,249.45. And we have with us the director, Mark Griffiths.
Good morning. This is a request for the ability to hire a supervisor not at the initial starting wage. This is a unique case where a previous employee who has worked for me before, I've firsthand observed skills in our training that we have had with this person. Everything was great about the person coming and working for us at our particular dispatch center. The subject later on, the interview applicant later on chose another job at another 911 center. It was about a $6 an hour pay raise, which we can all say that's a pretty significant pay raise when they went there. So I understood that. It was sad to see it to go. They were there at that center working, and circumstances have changed for them. They're looking at applying back at our department and wanted to know what it would take if they were interested. And if we're interested, so this is the beginning part of the process. The person's not hired. We have not completed the entire background check or anything at this point, but I just wanted to know if the board would be willing to hire them at the step 5, which is the highest of our pay scale, to go forward. So the person was previously already at that step with our employment setup that we have at this point. So they'd be coming back to that. They recognize that this would be a loss in income, but they feel that Isabella is a better fit than what we're currently at this point. So in the financial impacts, I explained that the starting pay is $20.47. I'm asking to start them at the 5-year pay scale at 25.30, $55,249.45. More, as we all know, the wages have gone up over the last couple of years for 911 centers and stuff like that. So in the pay scale, so it's about a difference of $10,544.67. But we will save significantly on the amount of hours that we have placed into a person for training. They will almost be able to come back in very quickly, plug and play, compared to having to do the 5 to 6 months individual training, year probation. We're confident that because they continued on in 911, that they kept a minimum skill set up and running as far as that goes. And that's the reason why they want to come is because of excessive hours, mandated overtime, which we're finding in a lot of 911 centers. We find that even in our center at this point. So, and so I just request that be allowed, if they pass upon the background check, that the 911 director be able to hire the person at the step 5. If there's any questions.
Always. When was he at the county?
I don't know the exact dates, but I think he's been gone about 3 or 4 years at least at this point. So
He was at a step 5.
was that yeah, he'd been with us for 8. So 8 years, went through the full 5 years of the steps. So I think he's been with us for 5 years. I know he cleared the step. Difference in one name about him.
So that would be if he was here 3 years ago, that would have been with all the wages increase. That's what the proper wage would be set at right now. Is
Yes,
that correct?
Yes.
So
yes. Mhm. Yes.
Like October 21st, 2013 is the hire date, and the termination date is January 10th, 2020.
That, just be clear, not termination, resignation.
Yeah,
So,
in our system, sorry.
Yep.
It's all called term.
yeah. Just because it's a personnel issue, if there's more stuff, I'm sure we can get you that information from Emma.
Yeah,
An environment there.
Mr. Chairman, if I might.
Oh, go ahead. I'm still doing some figures. Go ahead.
No problem. This isn't unprecedented. We've done it in other areas. Certainly, if you can get an employee that's had all the training that you're familiar with, that you trust, that you've worked with, it's just a huge step forward. That's huge. And I know finding dispatchers right now is really a struggle. So
Absolutely. That's 100%.
I agree. You've covered it thoroughly, and I feel that bringing someone in with experience. It's a good plan. Make a motion.
Yeah, you go ahead, make the motion.
Okay. All right. I'll move to bring the approval to hire Isabella County 911 dispatcher supervisor at dispatcher supervisor employee wage scale step 5 years, in the amount of $55,249.45.
And I will support that. Any more discussion? Yes. Well, it's on the floor. We could just, I just concerned and not so much, but we seem to be getting a lot of these lately, and I'm not sure how that, I'm not gonna get my full support at this time. I want the whole board to have a discussion on it. And I agree with you, but there I also, I always put a lot of emphasis on loyalty, and when someone leaves, if they're looking for the next one and they're just gonna sit in and sometime, is that the best candidate? So he's gonna be here 2-3 years, and be gone again because he gets another, because he's taking a pay cut now, so there could possibility, well, I'm just sitting there for now until I can find something better. So I really, like I said, when I saw this, I understand, and the concept, we've always approved these before, because like I said, it is hard to find, but this one's a little different than what we usually do. So, but I am going to move it forward. Let the board discuss it. I'm not made my mind up on it. And if there were some concerns, just because, a lot of our employees are here for years, even though they don't have the best of wages, they've stayed for the county and for the county themselves. So, so
Absolutely understand that.
I don't want to be back here 2 years and say, well, I know another candidate out there, but.
Yeah.
So
I just say
Do
we've
you-
had
yeah,
a
do
lot of
you-
trouble
yeah, do
getting
you-
candidates.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, we're
A
gonna be
lot of
back here.
trouble.
We're
I
gonna
will
be
put a
back
lot
here
of,
getting
I'll
another
put a lot of
candidate, no matter
lot
what,
of,
I'm sure.
factor into that you've
Yeah.
had personal experience with them. So your
Excellent.
recommendation will have a lot, but I'm just concerned that at this point, I think I need to do it. So
Absolutely. And as we said, we're completing the rest of the application, the background and stuff, so we still have time.
Yes.
Even if the board says it's okay to offer that.
Administrator Frost.
Yes,
That's
I I just think that it's good to give this employee an opportunity to come back and be dedicated. Perhaps I think that you can't buy publicity like this for an employee to come back and say, I thought the grass was greener. It's not. I'm coming back and this is why. I think that is huge. But Mark, in response to the difficulties that Director Griffiths has seen out there in hiring, he has put together a video that I asked to show today in response to. I know you haven't voted yet, still kind of in line with this agenda item, but if you wouldn't mind a moment, I would like to play this video that Mark has prepared to help promote and hire 911 dispatchers. So if I can do this successfully, hopefully you'll see this. Fantastic product.
Absolutely needed to be upgraded, and they offered to make a recruitment video for us as part of the help that they're trying to do for 911. So we really appreciate what Zybex Furniture Systems have done for us. So very nice.
So where is that? How do you promote that? What's it on?
When we have openings, we put it on Facebook, and then we can turn around, put it on the webpage as a link or stuff if they want to learn more about us type deal. So that's kind of where we'll be out there.
Nice.
Okay.
So
Yes.
I have a question. How does a supervisor position work? Is this person right there taking calls?
They are.
The dispatcher?
We have a minimum by the contract, two dispatchers in the seat, or two dispatch capable people in the seat. So the supervisor is the third person. So ideally we have 4 supervisors because we have 4 shifts. 12 hours, half the week days, half the week nights, half the week days, half the week nights. In ideal world, we have 2 dispatchers on and a supervisor. So if anyone takes a day off or calls in sick, there's no overtime that occurs because of that. You just pull them right into the slot, they can do it. However, I think law enforcement could attest, there's been a lot more activity in our community in the last couple of years. So our supervisors have had to step onto the floor and help dispatch and more incidents and stuff, which is nice to have a third person that can be right there. Plus help make the hard decisions. That's what their job is, to make that. Plus at the current time, for about the last year and a half, 2 years, we've been trying to implement some very large technical projects that are going to directly impact the dispatchers and the capability to interface with other law enforcement agencies. Specifically, we're talking about our radio system that, if you remember, we had a strike by lightning and our insurance paid for that. We're still finishing that up. The good news is I got a word yesterday. It might happen in the next 60 days. We're also looking at our computer-aided dispatch system and where we're at. Ours is a 20-plus-year-old technology software. We're trying to do a better software, which you'll hear about that the next staff report with the sheriff. But basically, it's going to integrate with multiple things. We won't be in unconnected silos like we were before, having to duplicate lots of efforts. So the ideal world, the supervisors will be out on the floor and helping take phone calls, make decisions, and then get the administrative paperwork done, quality assurance for our employees and stuff like that, that we'd like to pick up the pace on. So.
Okay.
It was a really great way to not only answer his question, but get in a whole lot of things that you wanted to say. If you're not familiar with the technique, replay us on YouTube. That was really good.
Threw
It's impressive.
him a softball, he hit it out.
Asterisk. Always gotta have an asterisk.
I have a question. So on the step 5, so after 5 years, they're ceilinged.
Correct.
So we have employees here for 24 years, 9 years that have been at a ceiling for 11. Yeah, for a long time. And so all they're seeing is our, 2% or whatnot. And I think commissioners need to realize that we've got some employees out there that have been here a long time that have been at a ceiling for a long time.
Right.
And the COLA is 2%, like in this year, is a pay cut. That, it's great to be a businessman, but it's not great to be an employee sometimes. Right? So
I might argue that point.
Yeah.
So I think we need to treat our employees even better than we do.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Is there any more discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. With the motion has passed, we will move that forward. Thank you.
very
much.
Thank you for
Thank
taking the
You
time to watch
did
that.
tell them that I'm not available for this position, right? I have a job, and although I'm a good employee, I have a job.
I got news for you. They asked me to do your staff
For a year,
report.
yeah.
They want me to do your staff report. That means I can do
I
your
don't know, you
job.
up for election this year, Sheriff?
What's that?
You up for election this year?
Not this year, although every year is an election year, right? That's what I'm told.
Mhm.
That's what I'm told.
Okay, very good. Okay, we have the sheriff with us. The agenda item number 4, review and assess the semi-annual 2% application for the Isabella County Sheriff's Office requesting $2,000 and $80,198.50 for law enforcement data interoperability. Sheriff, floor is yours.
Howdy, I'm gonna co-partner this with Mark. He has a big hand in this as well, so. This is a big number. You know, we're looking at a large request. When Mark Shop determined that they had some issues with their current vendor, and Mark step in if there's anything I mislead or go a different direction on that it's not right. That maybe they weren't keeping up or they were going to continue the service that they'd seen in the past. Mark Shop started looking for a new CAD, which is a computer aided dispatching software, pretty expensive piece of equipment. You recall here a couple of years ago, I switched off from the system that was the same company that the CAD is on to a different vendor just because of the service and the issues we were having. So we've been on this core system for a while now. We're very happy with it. The city of CMU are in the same boat. This company is changing directions a little bit. So they're looking to come on board with the core process as well, or the core software as well, which is a good thing because that would put us, Shepherd has it, we have it, Clear City has it, city would have it, CMU would have it. We're back to that data sharing, right? So that's a really good avenue. And these are interesting because they're all siloed. We can develop and put them all together the way we want. But then at the top level, you're gonna like this, Commissioner, because this is a farming reference. It has the elevator at the top, so that all the communication flows, right? Yeah. So we can,
Paydays on Friday.
it's not a one-stop shop like the current system. We had to set it up so everybody was pretty much the same. This will all be, the city wants to do something different with how they design it their way. And then we just share that information across the board, which is huge. We're going to tie in when we write reports and get this data, we're going to tie that into the prosecutor's new Carpel system. So all that data will automatically funnel right to his system. So there's no more keying and entering. There's no more smelling Smith 2 different ways or 3 different ways or something like that. It'll all be clean data coming in. So as Mark's moving through his process, he starts looking at a product called TAC-10. TAC-10 is a sister product to Core. Global Harris owns it. So the data coming from the CAD, if we can move to that, will funnel to our RMS systems for everybody in the county. Outside the state police who have their own system, and the tribe has their own system, but there's actually some talk that that maybe they'll switch over at some point too. So that clean data from the CAD will come right to our RMS systems. We've built the forms, we've built everything into it. So it's a one-stop shop. Push a couple of buttons, it creates all the affidavits, warrant requests. We share the information with the city, all of us, and there's the CMU and everybody else, and all of a sudden it all gets pushed to David's stuff at the prosecutor's office, and it's clean data coming in. So that's our goal to get there.
And I'll just chime in at the point with
Absolutely.
all the different parts of the puzzle, right, that he talked about, the silos and different things that we have challenges with. If this comes together that way, from the perspective where I'm looking, not only will dispatchers be able to enter your call faster, dispatch your call faster, what it's going to do is provide better customer service to the people dialing 911, to requesting police and fire, to making all those pieces of the puzzle come together, because data goes in one time, hopefully, and then it goes to whatever they need. Data might input in over on a different thing. Maybe a police officer is writing a citation for a civil infraction type thing, and then the name and stuff pre-populate for parts of what will go through the whole system. And then we're expanding our reach of being able to communicate with our prosecutor's office, which we've never had the ability to make sure the data goes to the police agencies and then go right to the prosecutor's office and back and forth with connectivity. So the hope is that this new system would really provide a superior network of integration for all of our users and our agencies, our ability to, quite honestly, look in the records management tool. We need to find bad guys. That's part of the program. When there's people, we've had an incident before where there's a known person who carries knives who has said they're going to try and hurt a police officer. And because we were siloed, we didn't catch that piece of data right away. So that's something that we're hoping that this will all help us avoid and work together. And we were on a system a long time ago altogether, but like I said, mine's 20 years old. It's time to look at what newer technologies might be out there to offer.
And that data, like for currently right now, we're re-entering a lot of data, that we get dispatch times, locations, so all that stuff will come in. So that'll speed up our process and make ours more efficient as well. With that big number, which is almost a $500,000 request to the tribe, we threw some matches to it. So the city and CMU threw 30,000 apiece to it. We had $15,000 allocated in my budget for the Carpel interface already. So after October, if commissioners approve that, that money will be there. And then we can add that to it. And then Mark had some money as well. So he put 150,000 towards it. So that cuts about 50%. So that's a nice match. I'm hoping the tribe looks at that and says, you know, this is something that everybody really wants. They've shown us financially that they're interested in partnershiping with it, and we're hoping that it moves forward. The only thing that wasn't in your packet, and I'm not sure if Jessica and I didn't touch base this morning, I sent you an email. I missed one document that needs to be added. It's a collaborative letter that all the police chiefs had signed. So I'll need to get that added. And you might not check your emails yet this morning, Jessica, but that every agency signed off, including Mark, that we all agree, even the state police and stuff, because there will be an interface on the state police and the tribal cars to be able to communicate with dispatch and receive calls from that. So every law enforcement vehicle person gets touched by this project for public safety.
Okay, we answered some of the questions going through here, which is great. You know, I was going through here earlier and I did notice that the tribal was not on there. I can understand state police because they're the state police.
So the tribe uses
So are they? You think they will eventually go in here?
They-
Kind of curious.
Yeah, they've looked at the software. They currently have a company called Sunridge Rims. They've had for years. In fact, when I worked out there in the 90s, and that was the system they use. So it's very robust. They have it there, and it works well for them. But and I talked to the police chief here not too long ago, and he said, you know, with everybody going on, maybe we need to look at this again. And they weren't a no. There was a couple things that they would have liked to see in it, and that's one thing about core. And you tell them, and I'll be honest with you, a couple of the modules that are coming, and one of the ones that I've added for us was the calling it ECOP, which is the where someone can log into our website or something and file a complaint for somebody ran over my mailbox. I need a number for insurance, right? So we don't have to respond out there. We don't have to spend the resources to do those low level of stuff like that. So I asked for that probably less than a year ago, and I said, this is something really we need. I asked for use of force. I said, I want a use of force module so we can track use of force, not only force that we might have to use or force that's being used back on the staff, right? So they're building that in. I mean, just that's how that company operates. They see the value in that. They reach out to the other partners in the state, and they have lots of customers now. And they're like, yeah, we would love to have something like that. They actually have a hub now where you can go in and vote. Like, yeah, I really like that idea. Like, that's something I really could use. And that's how those things develop. So when the tribal police, you know, looked at it, maybe there's a couple of things that didn't work for them. That probably is something that they'll fix or make happen. And I think you'll see the tribe maybe at some time look at that again and come back on. It is you know, we'd love to share with everybody, but at this point in time, they weren't ready to move to it. So in the state police, they have their own system. They, you know, that the state runs. It's hard for them because every county would be different for them and that type of thing. So,
But there still will be information sharing.
oh, absolutely. To the tribe, yes.
Can you explain that use of force module a little more?
So basically, like, use of force stuff now is done on paper. So say we had to use a taser, deploy a taser, we'd have to fill out a paper form and, you know, where did the taser strike and all those kind of things. That's cumbersome to document. We get requests sometimes like, what does your use of force look like,
Yeah.
right? So then you got to manually put all this stuff together. And a lot of times it probably gets missed, to be honest with you. You know, if somebody has to physically, you know, wrestle with somebody, that's a use of force. That should be documented somewhere, right? If when the deputies get assaulted, that should be documented, and it's not documented very
And
well.
if it's easier to document, that will probably get done.
Yeah, if it's check boxes in the system, when you're doing the report, you're check
Yeah.
box in the systems. Yep, I use this, I can click this box, this is where it was, this is the level of force. And all of a sudden, now we have data, right?
Yeah.
Now we can show, like, okay, when somebody says, hey, how much force do you guys use on a yearly basis? It would be very difficult to come up with that number, right? Now,
Sure.
when we get this new system, and the nice thing is they're just going to roll that out. It's not even going to be a cost. So they're just going to roll it into the problem. So that's really good. So
I appreciate that.
yeah, I'm excited about that piece too. I'm excited about the one where the low level stuff, you know, and the credit cards, you know, the whole gas conversation and stuff. You know, if somebody, you know, steals your identity or your credit card and it's bank fraud, the banks just need a complaint number. That's all they need to start the investigation. We don't do anything with that because typically they're out of the state, out of the country. So we go through all the work, gathering all the information, names, locations and information where somebody could actually just get in the website, put it in real quick, all the information, hit it, we'll look at it, say, yep, all the data is there that we need. We push a button, it pushes them back a complaint number and they have what they need
Yeah.
instantly, right? And we're not tied up on that. They're getting what they need quickly, 24/7. So it's, I'm excited about that too.
Yeah, the other question I have is under the table for budget items. And there's drastically different amounts there for each entity. Is that
Yep.
because they all need different equipment or different?
So, for example, Central Michigan University needs the Clery stuff, which is the federal reporting. So they have a Clery module. So
Mhm.
CMU would have to buy the Clery module. The city might want the parking module or maybe the dailies. So they're, the way course sets up, they're all modules. You get to pick what you want. Like that silo I talked about. So if the city wants A, B, and C, but they don't want X, Y, and Z, but yet CMU does, they can pick that and build that. So that's why they're differently. Shepherd PD, they just wanted one module. They've already had the system. I got the system when I was down there in Shepherd. So they wanted one thing. For us, we wanted the Carpel interface. That's what we were looking for, right? So dispatch, obviously, they've been working through theirs, so there's way higher because it's a bigger process there. So
Ours covers ours and CMU, so
Uh-huh.
there'll be more cost to it, and, you know.
Yeah.
We'll have to just work through all that parts as it goes forward with the ongoing contracts and mutual aid maintenance and all that kind of stuff. Nothing that's not surmountable.
I was excited that our partners all put in a pretty hefty match.
Yeah.
That was nice. That was nice. And if you know, obviously if the 2% gets approved through board and moves on and the tribe, you know, selects it, we'll do like a memo of understanding to make sure we lock in our partners that, you know, that those funds will be available and so forth. But that everybody's kind of excited to get back on the same and have that clean, clear. It's not even like the names and it's the addressing, you know, so I can tell you right now in my system, I can probably look up an address and I'll have it in there 5 times. So every now and then we go through, we start merging them all together, where that'll stop. Once we get it, we'll get it right from the dispatching center. So it'll be one address all the time. So that there's just tons of,
Efficiencies.
yeah, benefits and efficiencies and
Better data.
better data. Yep.
Well, and then if you have a call at a certain address, you've got immediate access to
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
history of what's going on at
At
that.
that address, correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that was one of the things that they
So
were a
that'd
little,
be good.
they were a little weak on. We said, listen, this is important. We need to know previous history at these. Like, absolutely, data is there. We just need to create a button that you can push and show it. So that's how quickly that company works. And you know, I've been dealing with this company since 2009 when I was in Shepherd. I know them all by name. I call them and they say, hey, Mike, what's going on today? You know, that is the conversation we have and we work through things. And they have a core day every year and we go down there and they show us new stuff and refresh. And we actually just sat down to Gratiot County in St. Louis here a couple weeks ago where they come in and they just kind of go through all their products again. And to be honest with you, we were talking, they're like, well, hey, I do it this way. And they're like, no, you should do it this way and it makes more sense. And I'm like, yeah, it does because that's cleaner. Like, so it's just that constant refresh all the time across the state. So, you know, there's a lot of Kent counties fully integrated with it now. I mean, there's Gratiot County. And that's another thing we'll share with all of our internal partners here when they get to there, but we share with Clear City, but we share also with all of Gratiot counties on this system. So we do a MOU basically, and if I click a button, I can run anything that Elma, St. Louis, Breckenridge, the sheriff's office, any of those down there, it's there. You know, plus it ties in, it checks our jail tracker system because that's a sister product to us. So yeah, it really is a pretty cool product. So
May have missed, on your match, Dr. Bruce, are we able to use, like
The budgeted capital project that we're looking at, that's funds coming from that area is what we designate them. So we're gonna spend it either way.
Right,
Currently has $300,000 budgeted towards it, so either he could put part of it up as match, or he
Right.
could spend the whole thing on it, so yeah,
right.
I thought it was a really great.
that's
Great
just,
idea.
we're just throwing that tidbit out there.
Oh,
Because,
yeah.
you know, you gotta vote on this here in a couple days.
Right. Just saying.
And there's never been a commissioner or chairperson that told me not to go get money, so.
Yeah.
Right, no, for sure.
Do your
It-
best to get it.
Double your money and, we need to be good partners with Thrive. We're very lucky
So-
with the 2%.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, Commissioner, because maybe I missed it. So the tribal police department, we're buying 2 cartel licenses. I should have mentioned that. So we are buying a cartel license for their system right now. So that will push into David's system at the prosecutor's office as well. So they are getting not only the interface, but they're also going to be able to do the same thing by pushing their data clean to the prosecutor, making it smoother. People aren't running documents back and forth or doing
Yeah.
stuff. So I think I missed that. So, yeah.
Good addition.
Any questions? Or I ask another one? Just looking at, are the upkeep maintenance fees similar? As I've kind of going through here, are we gonna be, they're gonna be much different from what their system is now? I know there's 5,000 for the one subscription and 1,000 here, and I'm trying to figure them all out together.
As we've
But it-
talked about it, we've warned them to look at what they're proposed, because none of the agencies have not seen this. They're all part of it. They understand it. They already pay ongoing service fees and stuff like that. They know there'll be an adjustment. It should be close. It may not be the exact
Right.
same, but it shouldn't be double, triple, anything like that to have that improved technology. So, I'll just, I wanted to plug in, taking a chance when the sheriff was saying it, but all of our law enforcement chiefs, they seem to be very customer service and data driven, and data's got to be clean, clear data, and it's got to be efficient. It's got to go through all of the different systems, and this is part of what we're hoping to achieve better, because I get calls from different governments saying, could you run a report on how often the sheriff's been here, or how many calls we've had in Shepherd or stuff like that. So more efficiencies, more time, better customer service, more self-service that can help them, save them money for not sending police cars out and stuff like that. So, we're looking at a total package system, and it's not going to be the exact same as what we had. It's going to be better in a lot of areas, and they have to, it won't be worse. It'll just meet the minimum standard in certain ones. One perfect example right now at this point is we have Google Maps, the street maps. If you've seen them, a lot of people like them. They're very high def. This new product has its own map solution, which they can control and keep updated and do what we want it to do. So one of the things that Google doesn't do that this one did was display the street name in a bigger, better character for when we zoom in at the dispatch level. So
Yeah.
most people wouldn't care. They're on Google Maps and look at it. We do.
Or if you're in a car and you're trying to drive and look at the street names.
Yeah, exactly. But same thing, like the sheriff said, this company seems to be really customer service based. I said, I still want to know what it would take to get Google Maps. I said, well, we'll research that and find it out. It might be a very expensive license from Google to go into it type deal, but it's been a great collaborative project. The sheriff's done a lot of great work on this. The other agencies came through on this. So really, I'm hoping that, and for my end of it, it'll probably take 6 months to a year to implement. Overall, because we're also not just going to stop our current system. We're going to run 2 systems, which is what the sheriff has been doing, because he's isolated in a silo from what we currently stand at. So once this program gets in, we'll be able to again, share data again back and forth. So a lot of positives that have come out.
And the background to that is like the city of Mount Pleasant and CMU, they've been in negotiations with CORE on their own. So they come on to this whole process on their own. And then when they got there, it was about the right timing when Mark started looking at the sister products. We all had these conversations at the Chiefs meeting that, well, we should do this as a group effort. So that's how it came together. So we didn't pick these things for them. They've done this all on their own. They were preparing to go on their own. And then we just said, let's do this as a group effort and make this, a really nice system that does really a lot of things for us. So.
And the chiefs have appointed a subcommittee group of people who meet once a month at my shop to talk about issues related to computers and systems and stuff like that. They're all aware of it, and everybody's excited to see that this will actually do what we're trying to make it do. So.
Any more questions? Nope. I'll entertain a motion.
All right. I move to bring forward the semi-annual 2% application from Isabella County Sheriff's Office requesting $280,198.50 for law enforcement data operability, interoperability to the Board of Commissioners.
And I will support that. Is there any more discussion? I will not discuss it anymore. We'll proceed to the vote. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. The motion has passed. And we'll move that forward to the work session, and thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks very much
Thank you.
for your time.
Is this here just for?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
yeah, I just,
I
I
was
I
really just
want to
gonna-
see you lean into it, honestly. I really just.
It's a prop for the camera. You know,
Yeah.
these productions are very high production value here. Okay, seeing that, I hopefully nobody, is there anybody in the public out there that would like to comment at this time? I see no one in the audience physically. Is there anybody on the phone line?
There is no one at this time, Mr. Chairman, and are they missing out?
I see that. Okay. Seeing none, I will call the meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks.